Boom! All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. How are you all? It's Vaughn here from Dancer Raz. What? I have an amazing episode lined up for you today. Today we have the privilege of hosting a true icon in the world of Latin American dance sport. With a career adorned in exceptional achievements, Oxana Lebedew's talent has shown across stages across the globe, cementing her status as one of the finest women Latin American dance sport champions of our time. From the very beginning, Oxana has displayed remarkable potential. In 2002, at just 15 years old, she claimed the coveted world titles in Junior 2 in 10 dance, making the start of her meteoric rise. 3 years later, she solidified her position as a force to be reckoned with, earning the title of Youth Vice World Champion in 10 dance in 2005. Oxana's excellence in professional Latin American is now truly remarkable. In 2008 up until 2010, she achieved a impressive streak, securing third place in the World Championships. So you'll know these: Blackpool, UK, and the Internationals. Additionally, Oxana's claimed the title of German champion in professional Latin American 8 times, which is a testament to her unwavering dedication. Outside of all of this, she's also leaving a mark in the realms of television and acting. She's also been involved in Dancing with the Stars, and I suppose, what's the word here? She's enchanted the audiences in a mesmerizing performance on the German TV show Let's Dance. In 2021, she once again graced the stage Let's Dance, the Profi Challenge, and participated as a professional in the Italian version of Dancing with the Stars, known as Ballando con le Stelle. That was hopefully the way it was pronounced, where she partnered with the legendary Albano. So join us as we delve into Oxana's illustrious career, exploring the moments that defined her as an artist and the relentless pursuit of excellence, along with the ups and downs of the real person behind the glitz and glamour. But first, let's actually enjoy a demonstration of her dancing. And for those listening on a podcast, you can watch this on Spotify or YouTube, right? Let's get into it.
And what I
Wow, that outfit was fire.
Hi, Vaughn. Hi. Thank you so much for your words. I appreciate. It's
Oh,
been
no
a nice
problems at all.
introduction. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Well,
very excited to be here. Hi, everyone.
hi, yeah. Well, you know, I was talking about Pasha's shirt, right? I love a turtleneck. Very good. Very good.
Very elegant.
Oh,
Pure.
so elegant. Well, it's awesome to have you here, Oksana. And I know a lot of people are very keen to learn a lot about you and to have you here. What are you up to right now? Where are you at the moment?
I'm sending greetings from Bavaria, south of Germany. I moved here recently, so it's my new home. Yes,
Excellent.
I'm enjoying the summer. It's green outside, it's sunny, and I feel good.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, where I am, it's winter, and so I have
You're in
a filter.
Australia, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I have a filter to make it look like we have tan, but everybody's white and it's very cold.
Okay, I see, I see.
But look, it's great to have you here. And you know, I was looking at your. I mean, I've followed your career forever because I've been in the same industry, and it's really great to get to know you a little bit more about you personally, like as a dancer, right? Because you give lots of workshops, correct, and lots of lectures, and I'm sure. I mean, your teaching schedule must be very busy. You're very full, going around doing lots of
I'm very
workshops.
grateful to be able to share my knowledge, my experience, and these days I'm teaching mostly abroad. So actually, I moved to Munich because I received a proposal to teach here in a club. So I thought it's gonna be kind of calm, safe work of place. But since I moved here, I travel even more. But I can't complain. It makes me so happy to be able to teach and to work with dancers. Yeah.
And when you say club, you're not talking like a nightclub, right?
No, no,
What
no,
type of club?
no. Dance club, dance studio. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, that would be a bit different. So, if you're in that space of teaching a lot, I mean, are you still competing? Like, what are you doing at the moment?
No,
Are you planning on
I
doing that at any point?
retired. I don't compete anymore. But as you mentioned, I'm still active in some performances, TV shows, and I still love to dance. I still love to express my personality on the floor. Doesn't matter if it's a couple dance or a flamenco show I do solo. I'm still very happy when I'm being asked to perform and to share my art. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, so did you always know you wanted to be a dancer? I mean, because you started at a young age, right? Were you 6 years old, 7 years old?
I actually say I started to dance in belly of my mom
I
because
was
she
gonna
was
the
a choreographer.
yes, she was a choreographer, was she?
So I grew up under the belly bars, and my father is a gymnast teacher. My
Mhm.
sister is an acrobat, so we have like a crazy creative artistic family.
You must have some fun family
um,
gatherings.
exactly, yes. And I tried gymnastics, but I am afraid of heights, so this wouldn't work for me. I love to draw, to paint, so this is kind of my hobby. But dance, of course, it's in my blood. Somehow I
Mm.
knew I love to dance, and I guess if it wouldn't have been dance sport, it would be some other dance because I love hip hop, I love jazz dance, flamenco, any type of dance. I'm always very curious and open to learn new styles. Yeah.
Mm. Did you actually do any ballet when you were because you started ballroom very young, right? So did you were you also doing ballet at the same time?
I started when I was 6 to dance in a dance school, but ballet was always part of my education because I grew up in Kazakhstan and
Hmm.
in former Soviet Union. It is normal that we have like 2 or 3 days a week ballet classes. He has to develop the feet, the arms, the legs, all this articulation. And yeah, then when I moved to Germany, I was 12 and I didn't have partner first. So I just did ballet. I went to ballet school, just to keep in shape while I'm searching for a partner. And I took flamenco classes and yeah, kind of always dancing. Doesn't matter what kind of circumstances, I was always dancing. Yeah,
Did you? Okay,
still
so
am.
well, yeah. I mean, that's not going to go away, right? So it's like, and I always like to ask this. I talked to many dancers of different levels, but particularly ones that have made a life from the art of dancing. And is it something that you've just always known that you've wanted to do, like within you, like it's something this is it's like either calling to you or it's something that that I suppose it either called. There's a good saying. It's like you don't have the idea has you, right? So it's like it's not like you're pursuing dancing. It's like dancing's in you. You know what I mean? So like, is that sort of was that always with you? This feeling of wanting to
Yes.
dance?
Yes, I guess with me, the destiny was that once I saw dance sport competition, very big one on TV. And
Ah,
I remember this moment still. I don't remember how old I was, but I was very, very young. And it was nighttime, like 10 or 11. So I actually was already in bed. And then I hear this music and reactions of my parents watching the TV show, whatever it was. So I ran and I watched, and this was this fantastic first time I ever saw this kind of dance, competitive dance, ballroom, Latin. I remember there were like professionals dancing, and William Pino and Alessandra Bucciarelli
ooh,
were dancing amateurs still. And this awakened in me passion, which I think in that moment I decided that's what I want to do, because ballet somehow I loved to watch ballet, but because I grew up watching my mama teach, and there was always live music played on piano, somehow the energy of it was too melancholic for me. I loved when I saw this first time on TV, the competition. I saw the spirit of man and woman dancing together, and I think this is more kind of my nature. So the calling was, oh, I want to be one of them. I want to be one of those stars. So since then, I never questioned what else would I like to do, because I felt like a fish in the water,
I love
doing
that.
dance.
Were
Yeah.
you so like? What is your nature? Are you like fiery or are you like quite calm?
I'm very impulsive, and
Ooh,
I loved to be a show girl since I was little. So when people would come for birthday parties or whatever gatherings, there was always a show created by Oxana. I was the host, I was the singer, I was the dancer, and other kids, okay, you dance 10 seconds, okay, go go, now it's me. so so I was the star, and I enjoyed it. And of course, now watching these videos, I'm like, oh my god, it's so embarrassing, like, oh. But I always enjoyed to have a good time, to share it with people, to spread joy. And then always my parents kind of, papa filming, mom giving me some moves,
hmm.
some ideas, always kind of encouraging. So yes, this is how I grew up.
Oh wow, there's so much here. I've got to say, it's really funny how even though we're from very different parts of the world, how stories are so similar in a way. Because for me, I remember watching Franco Formica dancing when I first started, and YouTube had
When
just
was
come out.
that?
Sorry.
When was that?
Yeah, so now I'm feeling old here, right? Like, so I'm like, the YouTube just like came out, you know what I mean? This is like
I
early 2000s, like 2005 maybe, like
saw.
2006. Yeah, so I remember seeing him dance though, and also of course Slavic, and you've got Maurizio in an amateur final. I think Evgeny was in there as well, Peter Stockenbro, and it's like a good 40-minute thing, and I just looked at it and went, oh my god, is that what it should look like? Oh my god, wow. So because I started dancing just to meet girls, right? So I'm like, this is a great place to go. And then this
This
is how
seems
you know
the biggest motivation for all the guys. Like, okay,
it is.
didn't it wasn't the motivation for me. I didn't care about partner. I cared
No,
about performance, you
no,
know.
you're pure. You're an artist. You're an artist. I'm just a terrible man. But here's the thing. This is how I knew I was serious, right? And I think this is how you know as a man if you're serious at dancing, because I started watching those videos, and then all of a sudden, I stopped watching all the girls. I was watching only the men. That's it. I just started watching all the guys. I was like, oh, how does he move his hips like that? What is he doing with his hand? Whoa, look at that foot. And where were the girls? I didn't even notice them anymore. It's like, that's how you know you're becoming serious.
Yeah, I remember these times. I was always watching also the older videos, you know, when dancing was still on Eurosport, and
What was
Hans and
Eurosport?
Bianca dancing, and Alan and Carmen, then Alan and Vibeke, Donny Gaynor. Wow, these were fantastic times. This was the high time of our dance sport world. Yeah, this was cool.
Yeah. It's still, and thankfully for YouTube, people can still watch that, because it was, for me, it was so inspiring to see like what is possible, and then actually going in real life to these championships, and the speed and the power and the precision, right? I was just, you don't understand if you don't see it in real life how much training that you have done to be so meticulous on everything, but also make it so flow so naturally, of course. But anything natural is trained very hard, right? So,
Exactly. It looks like it's easy, but it's not.
oh no,
It's
no, no, no.
hard work. It's 1,000 hours of practice. Yeah.
Mm.
And also experimenting, right? So because when you start a partnership which requires, you know, depth, so it's not like, okay, just let's make a fast product and go out there, but actually you want to build something with a fundament, then it takes time for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, did your parents, like, so with your family, your mom being a choreographer, your dad being a gymnast, is that correct? He was a gymnast, yeah.
Yeah.
How were they with your idea to become a dancer? Were they like, oh, that's great, yes, go down that road, or were there reservations? Were like, oh, you shouldn't do that, like, go to university, like, be safe? How were they?
No, I was always good in school, very good actually, and I kind of perfectionist. So I wanted to be good in everything, you know. But dancing just came into my life, and I never went out of dance, you know. So they always supported me in this. So it was not even an issue. Like, would you like to do something else? I guess I was lucky in this, yes, and my parents supported me. So when I was 10, first time we traveled to Mannheim, German Open Championship, and this
Hmm.
was like an eye-opening, a life-changing experience for me, because like to see all those couples, it were like hundreds, thousands of them, and compete with them, like it was you were thrown. It felt like thrown in a cold water, you know. So the first year was like scary and shaky, and then the next year we arrived and we had fantastic results. And I still have a little video of me saying like, "Mom, we should move to Germany." I mean, because this competition, German Open Championships, the sponsors, like creme de la creme of professionals walking beside you. I still have this picture with Espen, with Donny, with Gaynor. And I was filming secretly. It was not allowed to film, but I still was like this, doesn't matter, very courageous girl who just wanted to have this memory to learn from the stars. So yeah, and because my great grandmother, she was German, so we had the opportunity to move to Germany, and of course from then on my career flew and developed even better. So I'm very grateful to my family that we were able to move. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's incredible. But I mean, it's also too the work ethic you have because I think I read somewhere that because what age were you when you started dance with Franco?
Yeah, actually, with Franco, I was still 18 years
Ah,
old when we started to practice,
mhm.
just because it took some time for me to become a professional dancer coming from youth. I never danced amateurs, you know.
Whoa,
I, yeah.
what?
He,
That's
he
amazing.
took me as this young girl from youth, and I became professional within 1 year. So it was a big school,
That
tough
yeah,
education.
like talk me through that. Like that's crazy, right? Like very few people get that. That's not normal. So
Now,
especially with someone like
now
that.
I'm
So
thinking, this is crazy. What kind of pressure did I carry on my shoulders? Back then, I was just focused, what is the job? Okay, teach me. So
hmm.
I didn't even realize back then that was hard, but now I see from a different point of view, of course. Yeah,
How long did you
this is
dance
true.
together for? Like what was the length of your time together?
So our first competition was 2007, and then 2011 was the last show in Japan, Superstars.
So 4 years. So you had like four lifetimes in that 4 years. Like you did a lot of work.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, almost 6 years. Almost
6 years.
6 years with a year of preparation because he decided not to do competition too early. Of course, to give me some time, to give us some time to develop as a couple. Yeah, to grow.
Well, he must have saw a lot in you because that's also a risk, right? Taking time off. But I interviewed Ricardo over in LA a couple of weeks ago, and he said the same thing. Like him and Yulia took time off, right? Like they came together. They were both already very good, obviously, but to come together, right? To give that space, and I think you mentioned it earlier, to give you that to build depth, right?
Yes. Yes, because when I was dancing juniors and youth, I had a partner from Siberia, and he had a Russian passport. I was living in Germany, so we were seeing each other only half a year in a year. He was able to come to Germany, and the rest, if I was able to travel besides school, but it was of course limited amount of time. So we were practicing on our own. Yeah. So imagine how our choreographies looked like. Yeah,
Mm.
it was like mostly side by side, or yeah, just dancing and go through it, and then straight away touching the hand of Franco Formica, who feels even the movement of your hair if it's going wrong direction. So he is very very sensitive, and he taught me the connection, which I never kind of learned so much. Yes, so this was a new beginning, new experience for me to learn how to dance with a man, and it continued, like you said, all these years. And yes, I think it imprinted me a lot, as a dancer, to be able to perform as you wish, but still to connect to your partner and then create something together. And it takes time. I'm still learning, and every partner is different. Every dancer is different. Every couple has different kind of connection, and to develop this sensitivity for each other, that you can also react in the moment of improvisation. This is so cool. This is so exciting about our dance
Mm,
type. Yeah.
mm. Well, I mean, there are some funny videos of the improvisation that both of you could have on the floor together. He probably, in my head, is the king of improvisation. I've seen him like land on his back and then like roll up and like splits between someone's leg. I'm like, dude, yes,
These
the show
these
goes on.
crazy things he actually did more with his previous partner Oksana Nikiforova when he was amateur, and then becoming a professional. Franco started to be, more serious. So it was seldom. I wish he would be more free, as I loved his dance when I was watching him as a child. He was a big idol for me, and then we started to have lessons with him when I was 16. So he was a huge inspiration, and this creativity and artistry in his dancing always I found very, very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, and so look, when it comes to the so working, okay, so like mindset, the way philosophy and the psychology of performance is so intriguing for me, right? So it's why I do this channel and have a podcast. It's so fascinating because people look at dancing and they might look at someone and just say they're just talented and that's all they say, right? They sort of give an excuse, you know what I mean, to say that, oh, I can't be much better because, oh, look at that person, they're so good. And so what is it like when you're training with someone? So because you came in so raw with Franco and he had all this experience, what was he like to train with? What, give us some examples of like what training was like. Did you, how many days a week? Like the type you would do? Was it how intense it was or how relaxed it? I don't know. So paint a picture for people so they understand what it's like to actually go from where you came in and in like 6 or 7 years to pull yourself up like, you know, levels and levels and levels.
You know, the times I enjoyed dancing with Franco the most was actually the very, very beginning when we were not even trying out officially. So it was just like, you know, uh, back then my partner from Siberia, he left, he had problems with visa, and I also started to grow, so he was smaller than me, and Franco being our teacher, and then he moved to Berlin to do ballet school. He actually asked me, would you like to practice a little bit, you know, just stay in shape, for you and me is good. And these were the most beautiful experience I ever had with him, because we were just intuitively, instinctively dancing together. You know, I didn't have the knowledge. My brain was off, just dancing with him. And, you know, there was no judgment, no teaching, but kind of just reacting. And
Mm-hmm.
this was cool. And then, of course, hard time of mechanics and principles. He was very clear in what kind of, he was very clear in his vision, what kind of dance he wants to develop with me. Because he said in his interviews, he said, I was like a blank white sheet of paper he could paint on. He saw me as this. And then, of course, you know, to get his imprint, get his information. I tried to do my best, but it was not easy. And then, because the first months or first years, he was mostly teaching me. So it was also, he was kind of not as free in the first comps we did, because it's a lot of responsibility to take an unexperienced girl who nobody knows in the top dance world. So for him was for sure not easy, but I just tried to do my best, you know. Like, for example, our first Blackpool, I was just focused. He was very nervous, but I didn't even think about these outside factors. I didn't take myself as, oh, right, now you're in professionals. I just wanted to do a good cha-cha and not forget the things he asked me. So I was very into it, you know. And then, of course, also our last performances were also very nice, because somehow the fruits of the seeds he planted in the beginning of our dance career, they started, you know, it started to bloom, and we started to feel like, okay, we can trust each other. We know how it goes. And there was this was beautiful to dance our last shows, because also me knowing that it's gonna be our last shows, I dedicated all all my being to this moment. So it was really beautiful.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah,
If only so many people could be that lucky.
emotional and yeah, nice. Yeah, I think these are also, you can see a little bit of this energy we carried. Of course, you cannot find all the videos, all the things we experienced. Like, there were such a pity. For example, I never saw us dance in Blackpool 2010. I remember the samba we danced in a quarterfinal, and we had like Laola wave. All the people stood up the moment we passed by in samba,
I
because
was
somehow
there. I
it
was
was
doing that.
just this magical moment in time, when the music. I saw Ashley here look in my eyes. This was like, okay, let's give it to us. Go with the samba, and the audience just carried us. I had goosebumps dancing. I had chills. Like it was. I carry this experience in me. I will never forget. But there is no video of it. So yeah, it's very precious.
That's amazing. I mean, the to have those experiences even once is a true blessing because it's difficult as a performer and a partnership, right, to make those things happen. Why did your partnership finish? I mean, and everything
Uh,
comes to an end, but why?
Actually, before we started to dance together, we started to date. So our partnership, like we fell in love and we were together as a couple. And then Franco was not still decided with who to dance professionals, but then, yeah, he wanted to give it a try with me, and we started to dance. And it was a very intense career, with ups and downs, with a lot of pressure. And yes, then we separated privately, end of 2009, and then we still were dancing like almost 2 years together. But then it became too hard.
Oh, that's
Like
difficult. Yeah.
it was mainly his decision to go on in his life. So I was very sad when he decided not to dance with me anymore. But of course, the circumstances and the things happened outside, like privately, were very, very difficult. And Franco is a very warm, sensitive person with a big heart. And yeah, we just didn't want, to suffer anymore, because it was not only professional with us, it was very personal, our relationship, our dance relationship as well. So yeah, at that point of time, he decided to go on, kind of to leave the past behind.
How did that
Yeah.
make you feel?
At the beginning, when I received his message, like I was crying. I was devastated. But of course, I understood his point of view, that it's more healthy, to for him. And yeah, it was difficult to continue to dance with me, to see me every day. So I think I was kind of lost. But at that time, I was married to another guy, so I kind of lived a certain moment of my life being more into my privacy, feeling like a woman, feeling different. Yeah, it was not anymore all about dance. It was also about things which make me happy outside of dancing. Yes, I was living in Baden-Baden, in a beautiful city, at the Rose Garden, and it was a kind of fairy tale thing. We traveled the world with this guy. We saw Brazil, we saw Argentina, many, many countries, but not for dancing, not like with
Mm.
Franco for, okay, just a show competition or teaching, but actually to discover the country, the culture. So I kind of was gone. I still continued dancing with my husband, because there was a little bit of manipulation, I would say, from his side. But yeah, and I was so much in love, so I went with it, and we felt quite happy privately traveling. And it was different type of, like, another life, and then after a few years, I realized I miss being on stage. I started to study, I finished school. I started to study architecture, and then after half a year of studying, I realized, what am I doing? I'm a dancer, I'm a performer, I want to be back. And then I, boom, stopped. Yeah, as you see, I'm Aries, my horoscope is, yeah, kind of this. When the last drop falls, that's it. Yes, and then I tried actually the television thing, you know, yeah. And then we started to dance with Pasha. Yeah.
It's interesting to me. You seem so uh, so vulnerable. Like it's fantastic, but that's the to me a hallmark of a performer, right? Is being able to expose yourself, good or bad, right? And it's a difficult thing to do, isn't it? To open yourself to love and to open yourself to opportunity, and to also try to build, I suppose, something meaningful.
I that's me, that's how I dance. That's why I always like a criticism, let's say from Franco. I always took it personally, which is not a good thing. And when I dance, when I perform, it's me. It's Oksana dancing. It's not just an athlete or a professional. Maybe it's bad. It would save more nerves if I would remain, more structured.
I don't
But
think
I
so.
guess that's also like when you dance in tears and when you dance happy, when you feel happy, people can feel it. It's real, it's not fake. Or also when you feel miserable, they also see it. Okay, something is wrong today. That's who I am.
It's true. I mean, dance is therapy. It is for sure a good therapy. I use it myself for many personal reasons like that. Um, but I think with your striving to become like so good, because you said you're a perfectionist, right? A self-proclaimed perfectionist. So Franco had the canvas to work with you on, and then of course, your coaches are putting their stamp there too. But you've also got to make your own choices, right? As a performer, as an artist. So as a woman dancing, like you've got these strong men with their ideas. How do you? And then you've got your feelings there too, and the relationship. Like, how do you make your own choices? Like, what sort of things do you think about to make, or do you just go by feeling? Are you more like intuitive in the way that you approach dancing, or are you very methodical, very mechanical, very technique driven? Then you're intuitive. Like, how do you sort of work around your dancing? What are some things you do?
So of course I was like you said, when Franco started to work with me, he bring his methodism. He was very methodical. He had very clear principles, and me being kind of just a talented girl, dancing by emotion, by feeling. He put me in a box, kind of, and I think it's good because I
Mm-hmm.
learned the most rules, the most things I learned from him, from also Hans Galke, and Brian and Carmen were our teachers as well. So, like the German way, how it should be, and
What is the
it
German
gave
way?
me
What is the German way? I don't know this way. Ah,
technique,
okay.
mechanic, connection, and logic. Yeah. So I was very much influenced in this, and which I'm very grateful for, because my teaching nowadays is kind of a good balance of knowing the rules, but still, give it this Oksana touch, artistry, And actually, I learned how to listen to my own voice, or how to express my own voice too late. So even
Don't we
dancing
all?
with Pacha, who is also a strong character with his great talent and his vision as well, and his personality, me as a partner, as a dance partner, I think I have a good gift to feel the man. And so with Pasha, for example, we when we had the first tryout, I asked him like, so what would you like to do? Tell me. And he said, let's just go with the flow. And he took my hand and we didn't stop dancing for hours, you know. Yeah, I just felt his energy and I was always able to kind of feel it and you know, be with him in one level. So and then I realized that I'm all about man always when I dance, you know, to make him happy, to make him kind of free, because this, of course, I love when a man can act, can express his full potential, his talent. But then I often forgot my own self. And this I started to learn when I stopped dancing. what
Really?
what is it what I like to dance? What is it like when I teach now? I help girls a lot to express themselves, still trying to follow the rules and to be able to start the movement from his source, because he's leading. But how can I express my own voice so he actually accepts, respects my way, and maybe even gets inspired by it and can listen to me as well, to react to me as well. So this I'm still kind of studying. I was not able to do that when I was dancing with Franco, not even with Pasha so much. So I was, of course, I always had my thing coming out of me, but I was very much under their greatness, let's say, yes, because I chose them and they were my life at that time, you know. We were also privately together with Pasha, so if I love a person, if I follow a person and we were dancing together, this was like I give complete myself completely, you know. There is not what one thing left to me, but this was unhealthy. I think this is why the relationships went broke down, I guess.
Mhm.
So yeah.
That's a difficult place to be, right? Because you're such a lover and you've got that, but that's what makes you great, right? Like that's you, if you take that away, you only get a little bit of you, and that's not good. And that's the, I think what we would say is the artist's plight. You know, you're either a tortured artist struggling with trauma, or it's like you're all in and you're trying to separate boundaries, but it's so difficult, right? Because dancing's so intimate and it involves a lot more than just technique, you know?
For sure. For me, the technique, the fundamentals, the base was always giving me kind of security and, you know, confidence, because I knew these things, how deep we work on in both partnerships with Franco and with Pasha. We knew, we were so confident about these great fine details, and we knew nobody else is doing it.
Mm.
Even the couples who were in front of us, you know, with the results, we still knew, and it gave us a huge
What they're
confidence.
doing? What do you mean? What you knew they weren't doing what?
We were so confident about our principles, about our about our vision of dance, how a man is dancing with a woman, and I can't tell you now, for it will take hours if we go there, but you know, because our dancing was built on besides mechanics like coordination and technique, respecting the rules of layered and the history and authenticity of how our dance culture developed. We knew that we have the source of connecting with music and with each other, which no one else did, and this made us also unique, you know. So these things, we felt like champions without being champion,
Mm.
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's I mean that's difficult, right? Results are one thing, on the competition floor, but then there's also how you feel when you dance. Like, and I understand that. Like when I dance with different ladies, oh my god, like sometimes it's just like, wow, this could really be amazing. We could do something here, and other times not so much. So that connection, and yeah, it'd be great to talk to you more about that at some point because it is a difficult thing to explain. Like dancing is like it's poetry, right? So it's very difficult to explain what dancing feels like. So you only sort of know it when you experience it. You know what I mean? It's very difficult to say, here's how good dancing feels. And so you mentioned something about, partnering before, which I found interesting, where you were always trying to say, please the man, so to speak, and at the without you feeling like you were doing like your part. And so this is something that I found interesting. Like, do you see a lot of men think leading, following, for example, is like dominating the woman? Just
Oh, yeah.
you have to do everything I tell you, and that's it.
Like many machos out there.
Many machos,
which is fine. Like this is the cliche of Latin American dancing. He's the macho. He has big balls, and
chest hair, a
she's
lot of
a kind
chest
of
hair.
yeah. She's a decoration, but that's not who I am. That's not who I was, and I don't want any woman to feel like that she is just kind of a decoration. But there are different couples, There are couples where she should be the star and he's supporting with his greatness, with his skills, all her individuality. Or there are couples where the partner, is the one who is actually in the spotlight. So it's more about the harmony to create. So I always saw my partners as the stars, and I try to avoid conflict in the
Mm.
dance because they were very clear about how they wanted to be. And I guess when there is a beautiful synergy of both energies, feminine and masculine,
Mm.
this can become timeless.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I like to think of dancing in the sense of masculine and feminine energy, right? And so not a dominance and submission. And so the power is in the connection of that at the right in the right amount given the choreography, right? Or the steps within the choreography. And so that brings to mind like the importance of picking the right person, right? Because I've heard some horror stories of what some men think they need to do to make a woman dance well, and it's like, no, dude, you don't slap her on the legs when she does it wrong, you know?
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, like no, that's not how you get the best out of someone.
no, no. So I was lucky. I was always treated like a lady in dance and outside of dance. So I think respect and appreciation towards each other and listening to each other, and we are all equal. I maybe have another view. I express myself differently than he does, but doesn't mean it's lower or
It's
under
wrong.
him.
Yeah. Did that happen a lot? Like, so when you're talking about training, for example, working together on some choreography, or you're working through routine, um, do would you often say, no, I want to dance it this way, or like how would you? Because I often find that part of the problem with a partnership, like most partnerships, is a lot of the time someone's not saying what they really feel or what they want to express because they want to keep the peace. So like, is that something you've learned too late, or um, or how did you go about like the communication side of things with your
Like, for
dancing?
example, when Franco was in the moment of creating choreographies, of course, like I wanted, to help, or I had a thing coming up and I just say it. But then I understood that I'm just interrupting his creative process. And he hated it when I would, come up with my idea. And I think it was also right, because if he's in the moment, he is kind of connected to a different level of energy, and the steps, it's like meditation, and
Hmm.
you need to be in harmony with each other. And
Hmm.
I think in that, I became quite good when we were dancing with Pasha, and we were creating also choreographies with Espen Salberg. And these lessons are unforgettable, because we
Mm.
really like the Rumba you showed before. Like we were in Hong Kong, I remember, and we took 5 days in a week, and we were just all about, okay, let's create something timeless.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I love that rumba. That's a fantastic rumba. You know,
Thank you.
it's
Thank you.
right up
Yeah, I
there.
think
Yeah,
so.
it's
I'm,
beautiful.
I'm really proud that these things will stay, and maybe my grandchildren will see it. Yeah, yeah. But as a professional dancer, female professional dancer, you also must learn to talk in the right moment, to express your thoughts, your opinions clearly, not just because you want to go against the flow or something. No, it's about, bringing in to create a nice product. So I think I was sometimes then too careful to do that, not to interrupt or something. And it's important to learn how to express your thoughts during a training, for sure.
How did you deal with jealousy?
Jealousy from other
Mm.
people.
Yeah, well, jealousy from other people, but maybe even yourself, because I don't know about you, but like, I have to like keep that shit in check sometimes. Like, I can't help it, but if I'm wanting to so it's I don't
What
know.
do you
The dance world is it's so tight. Like you're dancing with someone, and then maybe they want to dance with someone else, and it's very human to get envious or jealous of somebody else if you break up and they go and dance with someone else. Did you have to deal with that? Like, and if you did, how did you deal with it? Because ultimately, what I'm getting at is a lot of people quit very early in their dancing, right? Because for very basic reasons, a lot of the time, jealousy, envy. Um, they don't think they can find a partner that they can do the work with again, right? Like doubt. So, like, did you experience, say, like when you ended with Franco, it's like, like, and maybe, or a different partner. Did you ever have those feelings of jealousy? Like, how did you reconcile them so it didn't like wear you down?
doesn't speak to me. No, this
Okay.
emotion I'm not familiar with. Like, for example, Franco decided to dance with Olga, who was our teacher. So I had great respect. Actually, when we were in lessons with her and Franco would dance with her in front of me, learning from her, she was my idol since I started to dance. So watch them dance together in even in lessons when we were still a couple, it was beautiful. Sometimes I didn't want to dance after this, because it was like, okay, don't you guys want to dance? It looks so nice.
Yeah.
I understand all the things you want from me, but I cannot do it then. I kind of had problems sometimes, because of course the experience, it shows. She was a very, very experienced dancer. So when they started to dance together, I hoped for them that they will have the success, but it didn't work out well result wise. However, like Franco had then a great show partnership with Anna Melnikova, which was beautiful. So I never felt like jealousy. No,
Hmm.
no. I always admire talented, hardworking, artists who all of them are, and I'm grateful they were in my life or they're in my life. So surrounded by these people, I feel like a blessing.
Oh, I
So
love that. So really what I'm hearing is that you can basically replace the jealousy you might feel with gratitude and admiration that you're with
but for
you had the
example, even to
opportunity.
talk about current partnership of Pasha, some of my friends or couples ask me like, how do you like them, or what do you think, or did you see this, and but with you it was better. There are different types of comments, and I'm like, guys, I'm living a different life now, and I'm happy for them, and they look fantastic together, but I'm not checking or analyzing. It doesn't bother me so much. I
You
have
are
my
a
things to
unique
do.
woman.
I
I
have.
love this. People need to listen to this podcast. This is good. This is good advice. This is good. This is not normal advice. This is good.
I'm grateful I didn't have to, this jealousy is probably an emotion which is human, it's natural to some people, and it's a bad thing for sure. So I'm grateful I didn't have it in me. I have another things like, sometimes other weaknesses, but jealousy was not that thing.
So when
Never.
you just mentioned something before about going and studying architecture, and it seems like you're at a point of like, oh, but then you're called back to dance again, right? So because it's a lot when it's very difficult when you succeed in something, you get to a high level, and then all of a sudden, excuse me, just one second, I'll just turn that off. It's very difficult when you get to a high level, and then you're succeeding, and then it ends, and then you can drop back, or you can rebuild and go for something new. That's a winning mindset, right? It's very difficult for a lot of people to continue in what you'd think is a perceived failure, right? Like, so I'm not saying you failed with Franco or anything like that. What I mean is that it can feel like that, you know what I mean? And it can cause doubt, or like, what am I doing? Where am I going to go? So did you ever have moments of doubt in your life, like where you were like, why do I do this dancing thing? Or am I making the right move continuing to dance? Or should I just quit and completely do something else?
So dancing with dancing with Ilya when I had a, let's say, unsuccessful partnership, yes, which
Mhm.
was just to continue to be part of this world, but it was not logically planned or something. It was okay. Let's just dance together. We're a couple, and we will travel the world and be happy and da, da, da. But I realized that actually this guy, he doesn't develop as he wanted it to become, so he kind of, I felt like being cheated, because we had these dreams when Franco decided to stop the career together. So my husband then asked me, okay, let's do this. Not ask, it was like, okay, we're gonna do this. So I just went into it, and I had doubts for sure. I was crying and screaming most of the practices, because inside was a conflict. But being in love with this person and kind of blinded and weak in that moment, kind of, I was not healed properly,
Mm.
I just went with it, but it made me kind of depressed after a while, because I saw he always tries to find a shortcut, or he doesn't want to go deep into things and learn and to develop, but just results. And I was not never about results. That's why I don't have, um, like you said, you build up a career. I never thought of my dancing as a build up of a career. I was just dancing in the moment. This certain dance, this certain moment we create, for me had a great value to be able to do that. So but of course, there was also an actress in me always, you know. I felt that urge to act in my dance, to express myself, to play a role. You know, this always was a part of me. So to be able to try like film, yeah, I always wanted to do it. And then when we stopped with Pasha, I received request to do a role in a short movie. It's not out yet, but they are have post production in the moment. And this was a great experience. So I think if I wouldn't have become a dancer, I would have become an actress for sure. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Maybe that's the next stage for you, right? Like, is going from the dance floor to the other stage.
I think because I'm a kind of, you know, artistic person, expressive, this is where I feel good. Doesn't matter if it would have been some sort of, you know, I cannot sing unfortunately, but anything which has to do with performance, with stage, I feel comfortable on.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
So now these days I'm really feeling fine and uh, you know, in peace with myself, to be able to teach, because those workshops you give, you also kind of perform a little bit, no? You carry a certain role and people see you as they see you. This is their own vision of you. Yes, but be able to speak to them, yeah, feels also kind of a moment of performance, let's say, a deeper, a wider performance, you know, to inspire dancers. Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, all the world is a stage, right? So it's not a dress rehearsal, isn't it? So I
Sure it's
think
not.
I think because there's a lot of young people that will watch this, and a lot of young girls, a lot of young men, and more experienced ones, like getting through those periods of like doubt and unknown. Like, do you have a way of dealing with that? Like, is there a way that you're aware that when you're at a crossroads, I don't know if I should keep going, or like the doubts become so overwhelming, you're crying, like it's the wrong thing, and then to end one partnership or go into another is going to be traumatic, or it could be it's going to be emotional. It's what are people going to think? There's judgment, all that shit. So, do you have like a process like to help you like make those decisions and then make the move?
You definitely have to be honest to yourself. Like, learn to face the problem, this feeling you feel, like, listen to it. Don't kind of push it aside, but actually realize, okay, what is this emotion am I feeling here? What is this confusion in me? You shouldn't leave it as it is. You need to face it. You need to go through it, even if it's uncomfortable. Go out of your comfort zone. Use help if you need to, like if you need advices, ask people who you think are wise, who are experienced. Listen to that advice, and think what would work for me to make the best out for me, like, because everyone has their own path, you know. So to kind of close your eyes in front of the problem and, oh, I don't see it, it's all fine, it won't help you, you know. You lose time. So you need to learn to grow, to open your mind, and realize who are people surrounding you, you know, and the ones who you think actually I should listen to them, I should talk to them, I should ask them. Take that advice. It can change your life in a better way. It's very precious. And sometimes we're afraid, you know, we have our own fears, or we don't want to disturb. If you really need help, take the help of a teacher, of a friend, of a parent. Talk to them. If even if you have to face, you know, uncomfortable issues and things, you know.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are held back because of the uncertainty, right? Not. So you said get out of the comfort zone. I mean, as a dancer, you're naturally pushing out of the comfort zone all the time. That's what you're trying to do. But even that can become comfortable, right? You get used to training, you get used to lessons, you get used to traveling. But then when it comes to the risk of life changing moments like ending a partnership, which completely changes the dynamic of where you go, I think people need a lot of courage, right? They need to have, I suppose, within themselves a feeling of trusting themselves. Yes, like trusting that decision, that that you will be okay, like, and you'll be able to find the next thing for you, right?
You need to meet any choice in your life with consciousness. You need to be aware of the things you choose, and not like blame it on, oh, this was my life, these were the circumstances. It might be like always in life we face some challenges, and we need to understand that it was giving to me as a lesson to improve myself, to grow, to become stronger, to learn something. And I think in the moment of doubt, you need to really ask, am I being honest to myself? Am I happy? And if not, don't be afraid to express your feelings, share them with people around you, and just be open. It's quite vulnerable
Mm.
situation, but I think it can be very healthy to talk and
Oh, I
to
think
share.
so too. I think so too. I mean, why did things finish off with you and Pasha? Was it
Well, when pandemic started, everything stopped. Dance world stopped, the competition stopped, the traveling stopped, and I
Mhm.
was in Berlin with my parents. It felt like for the first time in my life I was close to my family.
Really?
Uh,
Did you feel you
and
weren't close to them because of all the dancing over the many years?
I mean, when I became a professional with Franco, we were traveling the world:
Of
Japan,
course. Yeah.
America, Europe, England, and we lived together with him. So of course parents were always close to me and calling and seeing them once in a while, but it was a different relationship. And then when I fell in love crazy with this guy and moved away, my relationship with parents was bad. They didn't support this choice, and they were very down and heartbroken because they loved Franco. So unfortunately, my marriage back then was, black and white. I was happy privately, but I was unhappy on the other side because you know the situation was difficult with parents. And then when I decided to come back to the dance floor, and Pasha found me and we found each other, and it felt like that's the right thing to do. My mom came to the tryout and she was crying. She said, Oksana, you still can dance. She was so touched.
Wow.
And of course because sometimes you don't know if you're gonna be at the same level ever again.
Of
So me
course.
coming back
Yeah.
with Pasha was a great gift, and my parents were very supportive. So again, with Pasha we were traveling the world a lot, being in Asia, in Hong Kong, and coming back to Germany we were we were sleeping in parents' bed because we didn't have our own flat. So, and I preferred also not to have one because I wanted to be close to my family, because
Oh
for
wow.
years before I didn't see them that much. So it was important to me that we are good. So when pandemic started and Pasha went to Hong Kong to work because he couldn't sit still. He hated that situation that, okay, nothing is going. I loved it though, because I was with my family in peace, in harmony with nature, and I didn't miss dancing at all.
Mm.
I know everybody was like, we're waiting to come back to the floor. To be honest, I didn't miss dancing at that moment. I really felt close to my inner spirit. I started to see what do I need in this moment, and I felt like I'm totally fine where I am. And then it was a hard time because when COVID got worse and there was no vaccine yet, and my father got sick very, very strong. He was
Oh,
5 weeks in coma.
oh my God.
Yes,
I'm sorry to hear that.
he was close to death, and this was tough times. I also got sick, and my mom, but we were better than him, and he had problems. And this was a life-changing thing for me too. I started to see myself, my life differently. So after this, the priorities, the values kind of changed. I realized I want to be closer to my family. And then Pasha came and we started to teach. I remember we had workshop, our first workshop after pandemics in Kiev, in Ukraine. And after teaching 10 hours and me being sick with COVID, like few weeks before, I felt so weak. I felt like, am I gonna ever dance again the way I did? Because I was destroyed physically, you know.
Mm,
Maybe also mentally, because the thing with coma of my father was
of
a
course.
big thing.
That's very traumatic.
But you know, Pasha is 5 years younger than me, and we were teaching 10 hours a day, and then after this he said we're gonna practice. There was a practice night for all the couples, so okay, let's go cha-cha, you know.
Yeah.
And I did the cha-cha because I'm a fighter. All my career I would never give up, I would never show weakness, like during a final, during a dance through. Like I'm not a person which is like, okay, give me a minute, I need to sit down. I was never like this. I would always compete, even with my own partner. Like I don't give up, you know. But at that moment of time, so I danced this cha-cha. I was almost dying, but I did it. And then I sit down, and he sees that my heart is going like this, you know, my lungs, everything was, I had cramps. And he takes my hand and pulls me to dance a samba. And this was the first time I said in my life, no,
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
feeling well. Can't you see? This is not happening. Like, for me, was a new thing to do. Like, you know. So I just realized I don't feel like it anymore. I don't want to
Mm.
push myself just to be the Oksana I used to be. I was a different person. This whole situation changed me. And also, when I decided, so I don't want to compete anymore, my for my parents was a big, you know, how you
Oh,
say,
really?
hit, because for them was a shock, you know. It was a shock for everyone, for Pasha, for my parents, for my teachers. But I needed in that moment of time to be true to myself, and that's, I was 100% sure I don't want to be back in this stressful lifestyle. Because traveling, yes, it's a great gift to be able to do that, but if you don't enjoy it anymore, you shouldn't do it. So I decided not to.
Yeah,
It
see,
was
that's.
again coming from my inside, and I just didn't feel it's the right thing. And I decided it would be fair. I don't want. Pasha was still full of, you know, this
Yeah.
energy to go, to come back on the floor. He was like missing dancing. His heart was screaming to come back. And I feel uninspired, not motivated. And like, even in that moment of time, if I would imagine I would become a world champion, let's say, it wouldn't mean anything to me. Like, I lost this sparkle for competing. I wanted to still do shows because I want to express myself. I want to be close to music, to dance, to people, to audience. But I don't want to compete, because competition is a tough thing. You need to be, and we were 24/7 athletes, you know,
Hmm.
especially with Pasha. Our partnership was workouts, yoga, Pilates, gyrotonics, teaching, practicing, working on all those connections, coordinations, plus the finals. We were nonstop, you know, because he really was very, very ambitious. And I just went with it. And I think in some point of time, my body said it's enough. And as you see, my career, professional career, started very early. Some people start dancing professionally with this kind of lifestyle after 30, and I started with 18. I remember my first um, days of work in Japan. uh, I was breaking down because was not used to, work 8 hours. And you also learn, like you said, you adapt with the time. But in the beginning, I was just all in the lessons, I give my all, and I was just exhausted. And I remember talking to Christina Stockebro. We were brought by a taxi to the studio to teach, and I was crying, and I asked her, I said, I'm not sure this is for me. And she said, you will learn. Of course, with the time, you learn how to not just to throw and to spend your energy like it's nothing. You need to care about, okay, how much energy do I carry in my body, in my being, and how much can I share, and where I need to, kind of respect it and let it grow. I learned it after I finished my career.
As we all do. It's hindsight, right? Is 2020. But I love the you have a lot of insight, Oksana. It's really refreshing to hear because
Thank you.
that everybody has a guiding belief system that helps them, or not. Sometimes the beliefs do not help. But I like that it's sort of the evolution of a person. You start thinking life will be one way, and time goes on, and based on your decisions, it turns out another way. But I always believe that there's something inside you have to listen to, and you really have to tune into that. Because if you're a competitor in anything, who is really driven, really wants something to happen, you can
Mm.
override that feeling to an extent. You know what I mean? You can just keep pushing, thinking, oh, I just need to go harder. But inside, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like you should be doing it. And so it takes a lot of courage, especially at your level, to actually say, and you'll dance with someone like Pasha, who's a beautiful dancer, uh, and you could have, if you were 20 and dancing with him, so but it takes a lot of courage to do that. I mean, it really does. So congratulations to you for having the guts to actually do that, as hard as it must have been, because not a lot of people can do that. And then you end up more miserable. I think you end up more miserable if you don't understand that is happening inside all of us. It happened to me with dancing as well. The passion fades out, and you think, oh, is it because I'm doing it the wrong way? Is it because I'm training too much? Is it because I'm not having the right goals? But there can be something inside you that just changes, right? And you said values, so that's part of it too. Wanting to be with family, wanting to have a family, maybe. I mean, do you want to have a family at some point? Is that something you want?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I want children, but first I need to find a good man, or he needs to find me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fair enough. Hey, look, when we were training in England, and oh, by the way, I remember Anne Gleave telling me this with ballroom. She was like, "Vaughan, I'm better now in my 50s dancing than I was when I was a world champion." I was like, "Get the hell out of here! What?" And she goes, "Yeah, because I'm working with so many people and I'm expanding my knowledge. I dance better." And dude, like the first time I danced with, her, I was like dancing with a Ferrari. I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And she was like, "You just get better." So what you said before is, as you'll keep learning, you'll keep getting better from teaching, and it's like, oh, I wish I knew these things. Um, but
For
what I wanted to
sure.
know is like, for those who are wondering when the end of dancing changes competitively, right? Oh, they're looking to do things like, how do you know when to quit?
I was pushed to an extent when my body, my system said it's over.
Okay.
I don't think it's healthy though. Like many times before big comps with Pasha, because we were, you know, practicing like horses. Yeah, we were working very, very hard. And there were very often things like when I got a virus just before Blackpool. I remember we needed to cancel our participation. It's like body saying,
Oh,
no, don't ever wait until this happens, because this means you went too far. You break your natural system so that it collapses, you know. So learn how to work in harmony with each other. uh, Boys, respect that a woman is a woman. her her body is different, her vulnerability is different, or also her psyche is different, so don't push too hard. I think like we need to be careful. I have no answer to you when is the right moment to stop, because like from outside maybe some people think I should have continued, you know. I still receive so many messages that, and I appreciate this love of my fans and students, and who still ask me like, Oksana, but maybe you have recovered and now you can come back. And of course it's like my ego eats it, and it's like, yeah, why not?
I
There,
could try. Yeah.
or when you see, you know, an inspiring young dancer, you feel like, wow, I would do a good cha-cha with him. But come on, let's be honest. To do one dance or one show performance is a different thing than dedicating your lifetime to, or the time of your life, to real sport. Like,
Mm.
it's still a lot. So I don't know.
Yeah, see, well, that's the thing. It's this is what I like to discuss. Is there's a everyone's going to be have a different answer, and you mentioned it before, so I believe it's being intuitive, listening to your inner self, and then just knowing where you are in the stage of life. Because for me, I looked at people who were giving up family, who were giving up what seemed to me big sacrifices to pursue dancing at the highest level. And I went, oh, okay, even if we got to where the finals of Blackpool, for example, would I be happy being 40 and not having a family? No, I don't think so for me. But I saw other people doing that and they were happy. It's like, how am I going to compete against that? Like that's such a commitment. You know what I mean? They are putting there's nothing they won't give up to pursue, and that great for that. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's important to know where you're at, and values guide that. You know what I mean? Like there's a philosophy inside you that sort of helps you go where, navigate that, I suppose. You know, and as a woman dancer too, I think women are a bit more intuitive a lot of the times with these types of things, because there's a lot of men that just, I'm a man, I'm going to train until I drop, and then I'll do it again tomorrow. And I'll
But
just,
then do it. Then do
yeah.
it and leave her still to be a princess. Don't pull her into the practice and like, and but I'm not blaming no one for this. It was me. I wanted, like when he does, I don't know, 20 sit-ups, I will do 21, you know.
Okay, okay.
That was always my nature. I'm a warrior. But you know, you must learn to listen to your guts.
See, I like that. So if you're in the competitive spirit, this podcast will just keep going until the batteries run out. Okay, so
Exactly.
this is what will happen. You know, and I'm not hanging up. You hang
Oh.
up. So listen, do you have any regrets about anything you've done? Like, would you change anything?
For now, I want, like, I have a will, I have energy to build my life the way that I will never regret anything. Like, then I take everything which I went through, even bullshit stuff in my life, that I know this was for a reason. This brought me there. So I'm still working on becoming a person and building myself a life that I will be able to be proud of. And then I look back and I see, okay, I learned from that situation. This made me who I am, you know? So
Oh, I do
for
know.
now, it's still in the process. It's still developing. Let's say.
Yeah, I mean, I often have thoughts like, oh, if I did that, maybe that would have helped this. But I'm I hopefully feel a little bit wiser than living that way, because I often think, well, what happens is meant to happen. to make you the person you're meant to become. That's something I believe. Even in all of the bad things, right? So those are very necessary to strengthen you. This is the way that I like to look at things and teach my students.
Nice.
So,
Beautiful.
and you seem to personify that, which is why I was so excited to talk to you. You know, so what are your future plans, Oksana? Like, what are you looking forward to do?
Actually, I was thinking about sharing my knowledge also in a different way. Like, of course, I'm teaching, I'm traveling, and sharing my knowledge one on one.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm having uh, thoughts about maybe creating something which people on every corner of the earth will be able to watch. And because a few days ago I spoke to Brian Watson. I had an interview with him. I was interviewing him, and he gave me such a nice compliment I was never aware of. Like, he said, when you were dancing, you were always so detailed, like everything
Yeah.
needed to be precise and perfect. And Brian always encourages teachers to share the things which they were good in. Not like, okay, I discovered this and that after. Some people work against their own dancing, like they teach things which they were not actually dancing, whatever.
Yes.
But I know what I did and how I did it. I'm 100% sure about the stuff. So why not give it to people? I think this is what I'm here for on this planet. I was lucky and I was blessed to dance on the level I danced, and now people, like many dancers, ask me to teach them how to do it. How did you do it? So I'm thinking about developing a kind of Oksana method.
Yeah. Well, we
Let's
should
see.
talk. We
Let's
should
say
talk
that.
more. We should talk more because that's my space. Like I've been, I love teaching. My back, like you know, got my good old technique books up in here for Latin, right? So the art of ballroom
Yeah.
dancing. I love technique. That's my thing, right? I love the detail. Okay, average dancer, love the technique. So I really enjoy
But
teaching.
for example, me, I know I'm completely, I can be very clear about timing and direction and weight transfer and partnering. But on the other hand, I want you to fly when you dance. I want you
Mm,
to be open. I want you to connect correctly, because I'm into yoga and chakras and meditation, and I learn more and more from this. And I know that I have possibility to become even stronger in this. So there are also students who ask me, help me to be more expressive in dance, help me to be more open in sharing
mm.
my emotions. And this was always natural to me, I could do it. But now I learned how to actually, I analyzed what skills, what tools you need to be able to express, and through what. And so I want to combine both of things, the expression in dance and the technique.
See, that's beautiful. That's good because that's a difficult thing to do, as we were saying before, is the feeling side of things is so personal. So that's great if you can blend the technique, mechanics, and then the artistry and mastery of all of that together. That's really
And I
cool.
think the secret in this is actually to be absolutely connected to your inner self. And this is not easy. It requires practice. The same thing how you practice your muscles or whatever, your movements. But you need to also to practice your consciousness,
So
your awareness.
how can I do that? How can I connect more to my inner self?
Visualizing, meditation, breath work. There are, like, again, we can talk for hours.
Mm.
And I'm doing all that, and after I stopped, I actually got more time to do that. And I understand that dancing would have been so much more easier, more natural, more fluent, without forcing it, without breaking the harmony down, but actually go with the flow, and then in the right moment just feel the momentum. And
Mm.
it's so exciting. I love this topic.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like this topic too. We should talk more about this because this is a good idea. There's a lot of people that need that type of help, and it's hard to access, right? It's very difficult to access that type of idea and information. So
I
you,
think it's hard for people who have prejudice against these things, spiritual, wherever you call it. But we are not just bones and blood and meat. We
no,
are all energy. And I think dancers are artists not because, okay, we pretend. No, we have a certain field of energy which we can expand. And I'm sure I'm working on it right now. I'm working quite intense of how to develop those centers of energy in yourself, because we have our heart, we have our brain, we have our consciousness, we have our deeper chakras, let's say. It's energy centers, it's nerve centers. And if you are able to um, visualize those things, to connect to those things, there are noises which help you to develop this. You can hear it from music or from a voice or from singing bowls or whatever, but also
binaural.
your own voice, how you vibrate, and the visualization of it and awareness. And as dancers, we are perfect for that because we are so sensitive to energies. We are
Hmm.
sensitive to emotions. And then to strengthen these positive aspects, let them grow and expand to extend, like it can be endless. You could, when I say to a student, she's struggling, for example, with her balance. Yes, she cannot stand on her heels, and she's asking me, but how do I develop this? The first thing I tell her, which helped me, project your axis, your vertical line in your body towards the center of the earth. Like, don't just press to the floor. It's too superficial. Go deeper, go wider. Feel you standing on one leg and you feel this definition in your balance line, which is reaching into the center of the earth. This will give you such a strong base. You can
Mm.
do whatever on one leg, the other one up high. It's proven by me.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
can
say
show you
that's
that
your
this
signature.
is how I developed it. And nobody taught me it. I discovered this helps me, so I want to share things like that. This is like zero point 0.1 thing I'm sharing now with you, but there are so many other things. How to open yourself, how to shine on the floor. It's not just, okay, when I feel good I shine, when I feel bad. No, you can switch on these things. You have access to it when you work on them, when you practice them. But you need to be focused. So that's why I say it's not difficult. It just takes you, like, give it a try. Don't be afraid of it. And I think the people who really have thirst and hunger to discover it, they will. The ones who
Mm.
don't, maybe it's not right for them, they're not ready yet. So I'm absolutely sure dancers who want to grow in the full potential, not just physically, but also to achieve the hearts of the audience, you need to first to connect to your own heart, and then you can
Mm.
dance.
Oh, I love that. There's a saying that a professional is at their best regardless, right? So it's not necessarily how you feel, you can create the feeling in the moment, and that's a level of mastery to anyone should aspire to. And so I have a question for you then on what you just said. Every artistic style has a base level you have to know, right? So if you're painting, brush, paint, canvas, there's your instruments, yeah? And then there's a million ways you can use the paint, and the brush together to create many different pictures. And then that's sort of the mastery, right? Over time, learning how to do different brush strokes, learning how to paint faces, landscapes, etc. So, okay, where what you're talking about to me is I don't consider it high level, but it's something that if you're a beginner, would you be teaching that? Or would you be wanting someone to be at a certain level of technical knowledge? So, for example, a bronze medal dancer, or would they need to be an amateur dancer before they start working in this sort of frame of mind? Or do you think you should sort of be putting that in from day one?
You know, let's start with the question, why do we dance?
Mm.
Why are you dancing? You use the dance just as a aerobics to move, or to learn the choreography and just, okay, I'm done with it, go home? Or what is the reason behind it? And of course, how deep do you want to go in your dance? So I always
Okay, that's
wanted to
good.
express my soul in dance. I didn't want just to win a comp. I never wanted to win a comp, actually. I didn't care about results that much. Of course, my ego cared. This is, you have to differentialize, yes. But my really, who am I? I always wanted just to be free and to dance and to be happy. Yeah. So these things I'm talking about, like putting yourself in a mood, in a state of mind, in a state of being, in a state of action, when you have no pressure, no expectation, no stress, no negativity, no judgment from yourself or from anyone else, but I want to learn it. There is a curiosity, there is experiment, that you want to try things. I think this can help anyone, like even a person who never danced before. For example, when I was teaching on Zoom, and I'm still working with some of my students who never danced before, and we just had the opportunity to go on Zoom, and they asked me, okay, Oksana, help me to develop my femininity. I never
Mm.
danced, I never moved. I want to learn from you. I saw your videos, I got inspired. So I enjoyed those lessons so much, because I started to look inside of me. So what is it that captures the attention of people? They think I'm feminine because I never tried to be feminine. I never, like sometimes in Japan in the lessons they come and they ask, uh, can you, the partner, the boy says, can you teach her how to be sexy?
Oh my God, I love that.
I always worried about the right pendulum action, the amount and the connection. I never worried about if it looks sexy or not, you know. But working during pandemics on these things, and actually understanding, okay, what is it? What kind of attention, what kind of energy, what kind of movement supports the feminine expression, or even can enhance the personality you carry, actually to see yourself, how can I look, what helps me to design my body in a curvy way which gives that feminine look. I enjoy this work with ladies. Doesn't matter any level, any age, is cool, makes
I like
really
that.
fun.
Sometimes I feel I dance better as a lady than a man. It's so much more freeing. Like there's so much more you can give.
You guys are different creatures. you
Creature
have
as well.
other you have other responsibilities to carry, and we respect that as a woman. So I understand that, you should do your thing, I should do mine, and let's live it together, also in dance, also in life.
I love that. Listen, I've got a couple of questions from the audience. Would you mind answering just a couple? Is that okay?
I'm very curious, let's do it.
Yeah, I could literally keep talking to you for several hours, but I will get old and gray. So I need to and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but it's been so good talking to you. Where
Thank
are we
you.
here?
I
Okay,
enjoyed.
this is good. Tips for a 64-year-old trying to be the best dancer they can be. They're a social dancer with a competitive look. So what are some tips for a Some of the
With a
64-year-olds.
competitive look.
Yeah. Social dancer with a competitive look. I'm not sure what that means, but that's from Nancy.
And the last sentence was?
So, tips for a 64-year-old trying to be the best dancer they can be. And she says she's a social dancer, but with a competitive look.
I see. Step by step. You know, you think like, oh, I've lost time, maybe I started late. No, you take your time as you need. Develop the things you would like to improve. Like if you see the weakness in on your feet, for example, take exercises which will help you develop a nice footwork, foot articulation, stronger, more flexible, whatever it is. So first analyze what do you need, and then step by step. Like don't think, okay, today I come and it will be all there. We must give ourselves time, yes, to learn and to develop things. So I would go, like uh, what is it what you would like your teacher can help you in this, to see your advantages, natural things which you anyway will do, uh, respect them, carry them, cherish them, present them in a confident, proud way, but work on the things which must be improved. And this goes like day by day, step by step. Don't rush.
Don't rush. Okay. So don't try anything too advanced too quickly.
Yes, I think it needs a little bit of structure how you work. So target a thing you want to work on and stay with it for a certain amount of time, and then go on to the next things.
Perfect.
It's
Perfect.
probably for any age this, but
No,
because
yeah.
I don't have like prejudice to age. I had students, 78-year-old students, and who just started to dance and they loved it. And it doesn't need to be perfect, but you already in connection with the music, with your partner, you enjoy it. I can give you some tips how to improve it. uh, Even professionals, we are never perfect. We can always do things better.
Definitely not.
But don't try to, to get obsessed with it. Yeah, this is not good.
Mm.
When you are too much, kind of obsession
You're too much in
is
your head, right? When you're too much in
dangerous.
your head and not in your heart.
Dangerous. And then you forget all the other things which are actually good, So always be aware of the things which are, this is nice. And also tell it to your partner when it felt good. Let her or him know, wow, you led me just now. I really loved it. Let's do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Not the opposite. That was terrible. You're horrible. I'm never dancing with you
No,
again.
usually, like we always wanted, yeah, it was fine, but it can be better.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how our brain works. And we don't even appreciate or share, express our enthusiasm about the things when, wow, I really loved it. This was good, To acknowledge these things is important.
Okay. So next one, what would be your advice to someone who is starting dancing in their 30s? But it goes on. So like, okay? So you've sort of just covered that because right, whether they're sort of starting 60s or in their 30s, it's the same advice, I would say, right?
I need to hear more
Yeah.
clear
The
what it,
question was, she's got a couple, so we'll just start with the first one. So, what would your advice be to someone starting dancing in their 30s?
it depends. What do you want to achieve? Do you
Yeah.
want to enjoy dancing, or do you want to compete, or what is your goal?
Yeah, so we need a bit more. So, the next part of this question is, what was the number one thing that you focused on during competitions?
For me, the hardest thing, the most I struggle with, was stamina. So of course we had our uh, things we were aware of. We want to show today the changes in the choreography or rhythm or connection, the dynamic we create together, the partnering was always a big thing. But the most I was afraid, a little bit of fear, and I don't think is a good thing to be afraid of things. But it shows this is probably a bit of your kind of don't pattern or problem. So I always was afraid of not being able to perform in a level like physically, I would like to. So I tried to maintain the right energy through the competition. And it's not always easy because you think, okay, now I'm gonna go full in. No, you need to
Pace.
learn how to divide your energy wisely, for sure.
Pacing. And from Alice, do you have any funny or weird competition mishaps?
I remember one of our first shows with Franco. We started to do the paso, like one to the two and a three and a four and a five, six, seven. He falls, boom. Then we go on dancing. I don't know. Maybe he didn't scratch his shoes, or there was a stone under his. And then a few bars further, he falls again. I'm like, what is going on? Like
He
he has
fell?
a jump in the air, this balletic with the legs, and then he falls again. And then later the presenter, it was Oliver Wesselterhorn, a legend in Germany. He said, I thought after the third time he fell, you should have stopped, but we just kept going. So this was a disaster. Thank God there are no videos of it. But in that moment, you felt like I want to die today. I just
Yeah.
want to. It's so embarrassing. You suffer, but those things.
I can only imagine that feeling. It's hard enough when you slip, let alone fall 3 times.
3 times. Yeah, it
Wow.
was in fact. Yeah.
To
Yeah.
Franco's respect, I've always looked at a god. That guy takes a lot of risks when he dances. He goes right at it.
That's so cool. And in that moment, for sure, he would have sank under the earth. I don't want to see anyone. That's so embarrassing. But now talking about it, it's for sure very funny.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
You see, nobody is perfect, and it's fine that way. And it's
Just the,
it's okay to make mistakes, and it's fine. But I think we should have stopped and just make a joke. But we tried to continue, very, very dedicated and serious. We should have stopped, take the mic, and make few jokes. So
yeah. Just
sometimes also, like, don't take yourself too serious. This is a good advice I can give you. Like, oh, one time I had a terrible experience. I cried so hard. It was a traumatic thing. Dancing in Kremlin live, a show dance, and my strings of the bra broke. So it was a show dance. Imagine it just started 10
just you.
seconds. He, uh, my partner then he stepped on my skirt, so the dress pulled and boom. And I was dancing like covering my boobs.
Just the show
But
goes
also,
on.
and I was so embarrassed. Like this thing, I wanted to never see dance floor again. But these things. I remember one wise woman told me, "Let this experience be the worst experience in your life." Back then it was for me like, "Oh, it's terrible," but in the end, you see, it's not such a
But you kept
drama.
going. You kept going. You're like
Yeah,
now coordinating.
yeah, I kept going.
That's a true professional. Wow.
I suffered. I went out after this dance and cry.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay. But you
Okay,
learn.
so
After this, you will never do this kind of dress again. You learn
yeah,
from any experience.
yeah. I thought me tearing my pants, wearing like pink underwear once was not was my worst problem. But that wins. That wins the day. Don't ask why I had pink underwear. It was a long time ago.
Oh,
Yeah, and black
interesting.
pants. You can see. But it was not
Hidden
in front of a big
personality.
stadium. So this one here, I can't even pronounce this guy's username, so I just won't. But this is for men, and I think this would be good to hear your perspective on this. So, what's a key or one of the keys for a male dancer, right? Mobility, leading. Um, yeah. So, what basically, just to make this question easier, what's some keys that men can focus on for their dancing that would help with being good partners?
Know your steps, know your timings, know your directions. Know the steps, the timings, and directions of your partner. Only
Okay.
then you can lead her good, when you know what is she actually doing, what help does she need from me to be led in this situation. If you ask her for connection but you're not even able to do 1.5 turns on your ball of the foot, try it in 9 centimeter heels and then start talking.
Yeah. So basically, don't complain that much, guys, and know your stuff. Know what you're doing.
Learn and be responsible for your things, and also acknowledge what actually a hard work the ladies do, because dancing in these short skirts with the naked legs on those heels and keep up still, is not easy. It's not easy.
No, 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 no. You're right. You're
And
right.
treat her, and always treat a partner as a lady. You want her to be a lady on the floor in your hand, then treat her like that,
I love that.
in
That's
dance
awesome.
and outside of dance.
Outside of dance too.
Talk to
That's
her
true.
like a gentleman. Yeah.
I did notice when I started teaching, and then having to really know the proper technique for the ladies, like how much better I became as a leader. It was amazing. I started demonstrating all the lady steps, learning all of the steps through top to bottom. Oh my god, guys, it's a good thing. It really helps you a lot.
For sure.
All right,
Don't
so
underestimate.
here we go. A couple, just probably two more, and then we'll finish up. So here we go. Can you dance better in performance or competition than practice?
I was always, is the question if I, or can
Well,
you
yeah,
learn?
like so. Say for you, do you often find people dance better in practice than they do on the competition floor? I mean, was that your experience? Did you often dance better in competition than what you did in the studio?
No. This is this experience and memories will stay only with us. Sometimes we dance so fucking good in practice because the pressure was not there, the stress was not there, the couples who disturb you were not there, and you just were in the right moment, and everything worked. And we had these experiences with Franco and with Pasha, mostly in practices. So there are no videos of it, there is no history of it, but it's in our hearts. And there are couples who are also like, can be different, and they take practice just as a practice, and then they live in the moment on the dance floor while they compete or while they perform. And there's a great talent or great skill. We were mostly better in practice because I guess the pressure was less.
See, that's interesting. There's a saying from the Navy SEALs that you don't rise to the occasion, you fall back on your preparation or your training. And I've often found that people that treat practice a certain way do much worse at competition, um, because you don't supersede what you've prepared for, right? You don't get magically better on the day. It's not like all of a sudden, bang, it all comes together. It often goes worse.
Those the moments are very unique. Like I mentioned, the one time in Blackpool, these
They're
people
rare.
suddenly stood up, and you can't plan those things. And you, of course, you go, I don't know if it started with us that we gave this energy and they reacted that way, or they were on fire and it carried us. Maybe it was both. Yeah.
Mm.
So we were absolutely connected, and these things happen maybe once in life. Yeah.
Yes, true. Yes, yes. They're not the rule. They're the those beautiful, beautiful moments in time. Um,
And like young couples or unexperienced dancers don't expect it like it should be each time, or that's the way dancing should feel. Like, how many times did we really enjoy the moment during we dance? Mostly it's hard work. Unfortunately, it's like your knees are hurting, your feet are burning, you're sweating, you're losing each other's hand. But you need to make a you need to make an impression as if all is fine and you're just in it. Like you need to act as well, learn how to act. So sometimes don't be too sensitive, because yeah,
yeah,
if you get too much into the emotion, it can destroy you.
that's true. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's you don't want to be overtaken, I suppose, too much. But it is. I mean, it's a different endeavor. It's an artistic sport, so to speak, which is I've often found weird, right? So career and dancing is a strange thing to me because a career is something you pursue in a corporate job. How do you make a career dancing? It's weird to me, like it's artistic. It's so. This leads into the next question, by the way, because someone's asking, is becoming a
Yeah.
world champion worth it financially? Right. So, what do you think of that?
I wish for the future generations uh, that the federations, the organizations there on top who have the power to shape our dance world, I wish that these people involve themselves more to get more sponsors for our dancing, for dancers, for athletes. Because yeah, I'm being honest about it. Like, it's for me, to me, it's ridiculous. It's the most prestigious event in the world, Blackpool Dance Festival. I don't want to talk about the prize money the finalists get. It's they play it, people up there, they play it on, but it's the prestige. You won Blackpool. You can't even keep the cup. Most prestigious event in tennis or in golf or whatever sport, the athletes are being also appreciated, and I think this must become better.
Yes,
we
it does.
were
Yeah.
we are very grateful because in when we danced with Franco in the era of Brian, Carmen, and shortly after them, we were lucky to work in Asia. There, the organizers of the events, shows, and competitions, they care about the prize money. So you really see that people care about who they bring as sponsors to the events. I think in England and in general it should be better. This must change, because for me it's sometimes ridiculous to watch how they use dancers.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I understand what you're saying. It's a difficult world to get corporate sponsorship. It's a hard and competitive place to do it. But times are changing. I mean, with the internet and what can happen, I always saw myself as a bootstrapping dancer. For those who don't know what bootstrapping is, if you have a business and you want to start it, you normally don't have money to start. So you use a little bit of your own money, but you get sales. Those sales fund the growth of your business. That's called bootstrapping until you grow it and you make profit, and then you keep reinvesting and you make more money. And so I saw dancing like that too, because I was like £1,500 for like first place at Blackpool. I was like, okay, so you sacrifice your life for that. Like that is a negative return. You're never getting to make you don't. But the thing about money with art, and the problem with it is that you don't really go into it for the money, right? That's the difficult thing. You don't choose dance for money. Just like acting, you might think it's, oh, I want to make a $20 million film, but you're not really. Most people don't go into it for that reason, right? Like they go into it because it's a passion, they love it, they're drawn to it, it's this beautiful thing. But you should be rewarded for it for sure. But the incentive isn't money, right? But it doesn't mean it shouldn't be there in some way. But it's complicated because to become very good,
It
you
needs
need to
to
be
be
able to.
fair, it needs to be fair.
It needs to be fair.
So the
What is
sacrifices the dancers bring from being small, how our parents,
sacrifice?
sacrificed, like Pasha's mom used to sell a TV to buy to pay his lesson, or
Wow.
something like that. Those things, and then you become the top of the top. You become the finalist, and without the shows, I'm not sure it's worth it. Like competition wise, it's not worth it, honestly. To be honest, yeah, because of the shows all over the world and people appreciating our art, like they try to give us a good opportunity to support us, but without it, it would have been really sad. For sure.
Mm. We had a similar story here. There was a top dancer here whose mum sold the house and took the money that they made from it, all of it, into their son's dancing, and he became Australian champion and went overseas, but then eventually sort of stopped dancing. He didn't quite get to where he could have because he's very talented. So the
And I
sacrifices.
think, yeah, 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 yeah. Sorry.
No, no, you go
Finish.
on.
I think nowadays, because we have so many admirers of our dance world, like in the form of proams, I'm so grateful for that,
Yeah.
because these people, the ones I got to know, they really help dancers. Without them, most of the couples wouldn't be able to pay their bills.
Yeah,
So
Pro-Am has
it's
been a very cool thing that's come about recently. So, if any dancers out there that are actually listening that want to learn, I suppose how to make money to help themselves dance. One of the best things I did when I first started was I hired a coach who was world renowned in basically learning how to create income out of business ideas, right? And that, in conjunction with learning to dance, helped me a lot because then I could create income to fund my dancing dreams. So I didn't have to rely on my parents selling their house, or I didn't have to rely on. I
yeah.
worked jobs, like several jobs, and did different things, but I would still learn like a different skill, like marketing and running a business, which helps so
Mm,
much later on with being able to run a studio, be able to run business online, things like that, right? And are very,
interesting.
very important to do because no one's going to do it for you, and it's very competitive. You've got to be able to stick it out and get a partner that can get all the way with you to get the money for those shows. Well, what if that doesn't happen? You got to get there somehow, right? And it's on you. I believe it's up to the individual to do that.
Absolutely. But the system must change. The
Mm.
prize money in the big events, the most prestigious events, how they are calling themselves, should be also the most prestigious prize money. I'm
I
sorry.
agree. I agree. Okay, so that then seems to be the next goal: more prize money at a big competition that you can run. Me too. This is what we'll do, right? So I like that idea. It's like just bring on the bucks. I think that would help the people.
Because sometimes parents bring their kids to me and they ask, but if we give now our children to this sport, to this art, like to this thing, will it be will it be fine one day for them to, nobody knows if they become the finalists or something, but is there at least a perspective?
A
And I
pathway.
want to answer, I would like to answer yes, absolutely, but I cannot in this moment. I cannot guarantee, and nobody can, but at least the finalists, the semi-finalists should be treated the way they deserve to.
Mm, mm.
So
Okay, well,
so that the others have the motivation as well, for sure. This is why
so
our dance world shrinks. People stop to dance. Why? It's not worth it.
and
It's
do you
not
think
worth
part of that's because of like different political organizations being cutthroat with each other and things like that, or is it just because
it. This
people aren't
is
adapting?
another ugly topic, but I think this organization split and things is all because of power. You know, different characters try to win more power over certain fields, but let's not go there.
No, no,
Makes
that's
me
okay.
depressed, these
No,
topics.
that's
I
that's
want
okay.
dancers to be happy, to be appreciated, and to get what they deserve.
I love that. I love that. Well, the good news is the world is definitely changing. Like the advent of the internet has done massive things for dancing, but the dance world is very slow on catching up. They have no idea. Like
Yes,
you know, DSI TV.
yes.
I created that back in 2011 and 12 with DSI London. Right, I walked in their offices. We made a deal. Let's do it. I tried to get Brian, Andrew Sinkinson, Hans, and Carmen on to do all these different apps, but they just couldn't see the vision then. And so, fair enough, no problem. And then in about 2018, people started coming online with videos, and it's like you were like 8 years behind, and everything in the dance world is behind. It's like 9 years before. But
By
what
the
we
way,
say,
may I ask, is it still forbidden to film on your phone or whatever during a comp because DSI bought the rights? Is it true?
I think it's changed now because Arthur Murray filmed the last Blackpool, but they do like typically if someone's bought the rights, you can't film, right? So because it's like copyright, you know what I'm saying? But
And the dancers who are being filmed don't get a penny of it.
no,
What is going on with this world? You forbid people who paid their entries, who paid the couples paid the entries. I take my whatever sister, let's say, to film me how I bloody dance, my work, my blood, my tears. I'm not supposed to film it because someone earns money and I don't get anything for that as a champion, let's say. I
yeah,
find it not fair. I'm sorry.
no, no. But
I'm
just so you
really
know, I that
getting emotional about it because I think it's playing with the human rights of the athletes for
yeah.
sure.
Well, just so you know where I stand in this, I was the creating idea guy of like how to market and get people to watch dance sport. I'm like the positive dude. I'm like, we need the world to see dance sport. The internet, this thing, is how we can do it. We can stream it to people, which no one was doing in the early 2000, like 2010, 12, 13, 14. People were not doing this, yeah? And so people could watch it and come in. In terms of the stuff with the rights, I had nothing to do with that, right? Because I don't, that's between Blackpool and whoever's filming, which I think at the time was BBC. But the point of what I'm saying is that with those sorts of things, I understand the complications. It really it's a complicated matter, right? Honestly, and in terms of money, a lot of those streaming services aren't making money, right? Like even Netflix, I think struggles to turn it. Like they've got hundreds of millions of subscribers worldwide, and I think they're spending all their money, right, just to keep up with the content. So it's a complicated business model. So it's not like they're making bank and then no one else can record and things like that. It's there's a lot more under the surface. But in terms of the political stuff, I stay far away. I don't get involved. I don't want to know. I like ideas. How can we move the world forward? How can Oksana record herself dancing and make money from that if she needs to, if she wants to, right? That matters to me. You know, is how can you become a self-fulfilling dancer and provide service to the world? Like this is where I come from.
Nice.
You know.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it wasn't so. Yeah, I have nothing to do with that side of things. I think you should be able to be like record yourself and do your thing. And to be fair, I think most
Yeah.
competitions just let that go. At some point, they just go, like how are you going to enforce it? What can you do, really? So now, Oksana, this has been great. Thank you so much for your time. And I would like to ask for the budding young ladies out there, Of course, the gentlemen, but the young ladies that are out there dancing right now, that are watching you, have seen your videos, go, oh my God. What would you tell them if you were back then too? What would you tell your former self?
I would tell myself, don't be afraid to be you. You can learn, you can improve. Everyone else is learning and can become better. But don't be afraid to be who you are and to express it.
Don't be afraid
That's
to
it.
be who you are and to express it. Okay. That's perfect.
Yes, because this self belief and treasuring who you are, we often don't do. We think, it's not good enough, and we kind of put ourselves down. At least was my case. So I think I would have enjoyed my dancing more. I'm proud of what we're able to create, but I think I just could have enjoyed a bit more, just to be like, it's all good, it's fine as it is, and you know, sometimes just to have this inner peace. I guess this is what I would love to tell myself back then.
I love that. Well, here's the thing. Thank you so much for your time and being so generous with it, and for helping many people out there. It is so great. Where can people reach out to you if they want to contact you for anything?
I'm on Instagram, Oxana Lebedew, and Facebook. Yes, you can find me there.
Perfect. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you in the next episode.